All right, we got the new motor here. We got the old motor here. This is from a 2019 GTI. That's from my 2017 GTI. And we're starting to swap over some stuff, but there are some differences that I don't think people understand or actually explain. So if we're looking at the front of the motor here, this would be the front and the grill. We got the water pump right here, and there are some differences of the hoses that actually connect to the water pump. So we got hoses here that connect to this piece down here. I really don't know what that piece is, but we also got another piece right here which does not. Here's my water pump on my old motor. There is no piece that connects down there. So it's configured quite a bit differently. This piece actually right here that's underneath the water pump on the 2019 motor is actually sitting on the side, the transmission side right here. If you can see that, that's it right there. So it sits on this side of the motor on my old one. And so the hoses are configured a little bit differently. So what we're actually thinking of doing is disconnecting all the hoses from the water pump on the 2019 motor, which is a Mark 7.5, and then transferring the parts on mine to this motor over here. We're going to see what we do, and then I'll get back to you and see if it worked. All right, guys, so we got some issues here. VW from the Mark 7 to the Mark 7.5 just rerouted a whole bunch of stuff, and it just has made everything confusing. Well, I think we found out the reason why this part right here, this is called the heater control valve. It has two hoses that route one of the hoses. It's actually right here on this is the 2019 motor. This came off the 2019 motor. This one came off of my 2017 motor, but that has a hose that connects to the water pump right here. And this piece on the 2019 motor, which is the heater control valve, is literally mounted right here on a bracket that we took off. On my 2017 motor, as you can see, it's mounted right here. And I think we found the reason why. I don't know 100% for sure. I haven't researched this. Well, I've done a little research, but I haven't found anything online as to the reason why it's connected here on my 2017 and it's connected down there on my 2019. But I think we figured out why. And like I said, I don't know if this is 100% factual, but I'm just going to say, my 2017 motor is a 6-speed manual, as you guys all know, or some of you don't know. But if you don't know, it's a 2017 6-speed manual car, GTI right here. This motor came out of a 2019 GTI, but with the DSG. And I think the reason for the heater control valve being located underneath the water pump down here on the 2019 GTI and over here on the 2017 GTI is because this one is DSG and that one is manual. And the reason why I say that is because when the DSG is hooked up into the car, it's a little bigger of a transmission than the 6-speed manual transmission, which is mine right here. And on top of the DSG, there is a transmission cooler, and there's a hose that goes to the transmission cooler. And so my thinking is, like I said, I don't know if this is for sure or not, but my thinking is the heater control valve right here is just in a spot where it would kind of be right in the way of the transmission cooler. So what VW did is they routed the heater control valve down here so it's not in the way of the DSG transmission cooler. We looked everything up, and it said that the wiring harness from the 2019 model GTI is not the same as the 2017 GTI.
Okay.
And I even looked up the wiring harness part number. As you can see here, it is part number, let me see here. Part number 06K972627CC. Okay, well, the wiring harness part number on this one, all the same numbers except the last two. 06K972627FG, not CC. The FG is for an automatic car. The CC is for a manual transmission car. So the thought process of being able to just swap some parts over onto this one is no longer available. The reason why we can't reuse a lot of this is because this plug right here, see that? It's a eight prong plug, which connects, this is the stock one, which connects to this plug right here. And this connects to the fuse box in the engine bay. The problem is on this motor, the wiring harness, where this one connects to the ECU or the fuse box in the engine bay, this is the plug that connects to it, and it's a lot bigger. And so that would not work to swap over into the motor here, because that plug is not the same size as this. We were thinking of just like repinning some stuff, but we don't know if even in the main harness plug-in that plugs into your ECU, this one's from the 2019, this one is from my 2017. We don't even know if those have the same exact wires going to each pin. And what we didn't want to do is swap all this stuff over, put the motor back in the car, connect all the connectors, and then nothing starting because the wrong wiring harness is in there. So unfortunately, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to take off the wiring harness from my 2017 GTI and put it on to the 2019 GTI motor. Well, we got the engine harnesses off the motors. Both my 2017 motor, which is right here, and the 2019 motor, which is right here. Honestly, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. It probably took us 10 to 15 minutes per side to get the engine harness off. It really wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I thought we were actually going to have to take the intake manifold off and the bracket, and then, you know, get to the wires for the injectors and stuff like that. We didn't have to do it because it has all these plugs right here. So after all of these plugs is another harness. It's called the injector wiring harness, and that goes to the injectors and a couple other things back there. So we didn't have to do that. So it was actually a lot easier than I expected. So that's really good. Next thing is we're gonna swap over the engine harness onto the 2019 motor, and then swap over anything else from there. We got the compressor and stuff that we're going to put back on there. So we got the wiring harness on here. I know this is going to connect to the ECU because I took it off my original motor. We also got the alternator installed. We got the AC compressor. Oh, that's one thing too that I need to talk about. But before I do, I'll let you know that we got the alternator installed. We got the AC compressor installed. We got the oil cooler, which is right, you see it right there with the little fins. We got the oil cooler installed, and we replaced the oil cooler gasket and the AC compressor gasket, and we cleaned everything up. Everything lined up great. And then I also got a new accessory belt from ECS Tuning. Pretty cool looking. It's red. I mean, you know, almost 180,000 miles on the original belt, and I had no issues, but I decided to just replace it because it's cheap and it's there. So yeah, got that all installed. We also got the engine mount bracket, but I also read that the engine mount bracket for the Mark 7.5 models, which is I believe 2018 to 2021. I believe that bracket is different than these ones. I don't know if it's, I don't know what the difference is, but I heard that. So I just swapped that over from my original motor on the 2017. And then that's all set to go. We even cranked it over, make sure that it spins, everything spins, so the motor is good. Two more things that we did. I connected this piece from my original motor. I don't know what it's called, but it looked different on the one that came with this motor. So I just swapped it over. It's really easy. You just unplug this hose right here, unplug this plug, and you plug them both in. Really easy. And I got new spark plugs that are one step colder because I run an IS38 turbo on this car, so which I'll be swapping over. And so I got that gapped at 0.23. Yeah, everything's good. One thing that I also noticed that's different is the ignition coils and how they're mounted. So the ignition coils, now I don't know if this is like, if the previous owner put these on, but this is how it came. I don't know if it comes like this from the factory, but I'm just gonna say they're different. This guy, it's just an Allen and the regular grounding wire here. So this is just one Allen here, where on mine, on a 2017 Mark 7, it's different. It's like a whole different piece with this and a nut. So this holds it down, and then a nut holds the ground wire in there. So it's a little different. I like this style better, but I'm not a fan of Allen heads because everything else is like Torx or something else. Why Allen? It just makes no sense. But anyways, you know, it is a better setup or design. If it came like that from the factory, I do not know if it did or not, but it is how it came. So that's that. Now getting on to the AC compressor. Like I said, I was gonna show you this AC compressor. I took off my Mark 7 2017 motor. And the reason why is because the AC compressor that came on this motor, let's see if I can find it somewhere, right here. And all this junk, which I'm gonna be selling. If you guys are interested, I got a whole bunch of parts from a 2019 GTI Mark 7.5. Let me put this up here. On this 2019 AC compressor right here, as you can see, everything looks very similar, except that this one has one plug here and one plug here. Well, everything's great if you're using the wiring harness that goes to the 2019 motor, but I'm not using that wiring harness. Now, I don't know if this is, like I said, I don't know if it's going to look like this on a DSG transmission GTI. I do not know if every DSG from Mark 7 to Mark 7.5 uses two plugs. But on the 6-speed manual, there's only one plug. There's no plug right here. There's only one plug right here. That's it. So that's very interesting that there's only one plug on this one and that there's two on this one. And so I had to, when we put it on, I was like, what's that red one? Because it doesn't look the same as mine. So we just swapped mine over. Basically, if you're gonna be buying a motor, if you own a 6-speed manual and you're buying a DSG model, or if you own a DSG model and you're buying a 6-speed model, there are gonna be some differences, as you can tell in this video. So you're gonna have to swap over some parts that I wasn't expecting. Like I said, I didn't expect to be looking that far into it. I thought everything was gonna be pretty much exactly the same and line up, but that wasn't the case. But everything has gone pretty smooth so far, so that's a good thing. The last few things that I have left to do on this are obviously the clutch. I'm going to be taking that one from a DSG off and putting my manual dual mass flywheel and clutch kit on there, and then also bolting up my turbo here, and then some brackets and stuff like that. And then pretty much everything is going to be good and tidy. It's just, you know, I'm going to be doing little things like swapping over my my little boost port here that I have on mine, because I have some vacuum sources right here. I have some vacuum sources that connect to that, so I'm going to be plugging that one back in there. But other than that, everything is going to be pretty much the same. And so we're almost ready for this to go in. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to be removing my clutch from my 2017 6-speed GTI, and then I'm going to be removing my throwout bearing / slave cylinder, which sits right here in the transmission. Just 3 bolts. It's really easy. I'm going to be replacing that. Other than that, that's pretty much it, guys. So yeah, I'm going to get right to that. There are 3 9mm bolts here, so just get your 9mm in whatever socket you want to use. Now these bolts are out. When you reinstall the throwout bearing / slave cylinder here, you're going to need to put some Loctite on the 3 bolts here so that they don't come loose. You're also going to need to disconnect it from the bleeder block up here. So let's go ahead and do that. There's a little clip right there. You can do that. You just undo the clip all the way, and the bleeder block should separate itself. Should. Just like that. Bleeder block, good to go. Out comes your throwout bearing / slave cylinder. There's no sound on this one. So this is still good. I didn't have any issues with this one. And honestly, I could have reused this one, but since I'm doing this job already, might as well just replace it. So go ahead and put those aside and be done with that. All right, here's the pressure plate. I'm going to be taking this off. Then we're going to get to the disc, and then we're going to get to the flywheel. These are all components of the clutch. For the pressure plate, you're going to need an E14 inverted Torx, and I like to just use my impact gun here. So let's get to it. There should be 6 bolts altogether, and then you can just swap that off. Actually, it looks pretty good. There's a little bit of sign of hot spot, but I'm going to be replacing it and putting a brand new pressure plate on there, so not a big deal. So we'll set that aside, put that down here, and make sure you keep your bolts. I got new ones coming, so that's good. Always replace your bolts. Now you can take your disc out and inspect your disc, and my disc looks really good. Lots of pad life left on here. Lots of pad life left. So that's really nice. And the cool thing about this clutch, this is the Sachs Performance clutch, and it says on the disc itself when you go back and install it, it says gear side, so you know this side goes on the transmission when you install it. So it will go like this. Now we're on to the flywheel. Inspect the flywheel. Has a little bit of hot spots, but honestly it looks pretty good still. It's a pretty new clutch. But I'm gonna be taking this one out. I will show you which socket you're going to need to take the flywheel off. All right, for the flywheel bolts, it looks like it's a 12 triple square, and there's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them. If you don't have an impact, you can get a tool like this, and basically it locks it into place right here. And that way, like if you're doing this on the car, this tool will allow you to lock the flywheel in place so that when you're like torquing it or when you're removing the bolts, the flywheel will not spin. But because I have an impact, I don't think I'm going to need that. But let's get to the impact and get this flywheel off. I believe that's all of them. So we'll just do a little bit of that. And it's very heavy, so if you have anything underneath it, make sure it doesn't fall. Make sure you catch it. But yeah, it's pretty heavy, but looks pretty dang good still. So great condition. I'm glad it's in good condition. I'm gonna set all this stuff aside, remove the DSG flywheel from that one, and then put this back onto that motor and be good to go. Now, if you're doing this inside your car, like you're replacing like a rear main seal or your clutch or anything like that, like in your car, you're gonna want to inspect your rear main seal regardless. And when you take apart your clutch and your transmission, regardless if you have a 6-speed manual or a DSG, you're gonna want to inspect your rear main seal. This one is completely dry. This is a really good rear main seal right here. And so always inspect that. If you're doing a clutch job or any transmission work where you have to take the transmission off, always inspect this to see if it's leaking. And in my opinion, if it's not leaking, I say don't even replace it. Especially if you have like a pretty good amount of miles on it, like 20, 30, 50,000 miles on your motor, and this is not leaking, it's bone dry. Don't go in there and just replace it just because. I think that's just a bad idea. And the reason why I think that's a bad idea is because I've done that before. I actually had the IA bed rear main seal before. My original one was not leaking, but I said I might as well replace it with a better one. And I put the IA bed rear main seal on it, and it started leaking after a couple months. So, and I did install it correctly, everything. I made sure triple, quadruple checked everything, and it still leaked. So I say if your OEM one, this is the OEM one, the most updated version, and zero leaks. So yeah, that's my opinion on that. All right, another difference that I found
Jesus Christ.
between a 6-speed manual motor and a DSG motor is this. So everything's the same except for the inner diameter. I could put my finger in there just fine. Actually, let me get a tool that you would normally use for a clutch job, which is an alignment tool right here. All right, so clutch job alignment tool here, and you put this in, right, when you're doing your clutch, and it sits in there, and you can align everything up. That's perfect. Well, on the DSG motor, everything is exactly the same, except there's a little piece in here where now that doesn't go in. It doesn't fit. So I don't know if I have to get a DSG clutch alignment tool. Don't even know. Because this one won't fit because it's for a 6-speed. Or if this piece actually comes out right here. I don't know if that actually comes out or not. So, yeah, well, I actually hooked up my flywheel, my dual must flywheel, to the automatic engine from the 2019 GTI for the DSG, and it fit. All the holes lined up perfectly and everything, so it's all gonna fit. It's just that the alignment tool isn't going to fit. So yeah, that's gonna have to be something I'm going to look up online, which is gonna be fun again. So we just keep finding little things here and there on differences between a DSG motor and a 6-speed motor. It's not that big of a deal, just small little minor differences, but there are differences, and these are the things that I want to point out for you guys. But other than that, everything else I've explained are the differences that I found so far. Yeah, now I just need the turbo on there, install the clutch, and then just the little pieces like the hoses here, the hose that goes to the intercooler, the other coolant hoses and stuff, which I have, and yeah, that will be put together. So we're getting there, guys. We're getting there pretty good.
Hey y'all, it's another day and I'm just gonna end the video off right there. I don't think you really need to see me installing the clutch onto the new motor or the turbo or anything like that. There's other videos out there that show that and explain how to do that. So yeah, I'm just gonna leave the video right here and end it right here so that it doesn't drag on any longer. And yeah, the motor's almost there. The motor is almost there. We're actually going to be working on the transmission this weekend on Saturday, and we're going to hope that we will be able to get the WaveTrack LSD in there with no issues and just enjoy the moment on working on that. So let's hope that we can get that done this Saturday, and then we should be able to plug the new motor in, you know, pretty dang soon. So it's going to be exciting to get this car started up and running again. But yeah, let's end the video here. Thanks for watching. I appreciate all of you guys for supporting this channel, and I think you're going to be excited for what's to come with the GTI. There's going to be a lot of content. I'm going to take it to the dyno. I'm going to be doing a lot of different stuff with it, so stay tuned with that. And welcome for all of you who have recently joined my channel. I appreciate it. Thank you for all the support and the sharing and the commenting and the liking and the disliking and everything, guys. Again, thank you, and until the next video, peace.